muscles. Julie, but I got fired. Imagine generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have children, Monica?
Yes, I have two.
Yeah. And like, we don't want to spoil your children and ruin them. And maybe you have already.
Just a little. Trying to backtrack.
But generational wealth that almost doesn't go away. It's so much that at a 6% growth rate, they're taken care of. It allows them a different life, a different lifestyle. It's the sort of thing I think about.
Yep.
I had a student who was like 65 years old. She came into Yelm, Washington to take a class with me. She flew in from Idaho. And we were working on a mat. She's like, Robert, this means I don't have to just retire. And I'm like, huh? And she's like, my body was going to give out. This mat work is so easy, like I can keep working. And I'm like, oh yeah. I don't even use it as a selling point because I don't think it's ever been demonstrated in the Western marketplace. But I'm 46 years old and I'm like, see, 56, 66, 76, 30 years, another 30 years. I'll be 50 years in the industry. It's like, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be I'm not as spry at 46 as I was at 18, but it's like, yeah, I can keep working. I have to manage things, I guess, a little better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Longevity in the industry, when I hear reports that it's like 3 to 4 years or whatever numbers they toss out, it's like therapists are burning out. They're not making enough income. They're hurting themselves. And if I point it out, they're like, we don't like you. And I'm like, okay, well, statistics do what they do.
Yeah.
What person of means, someone who's rich, who thinks working on one massage client at a time is the way? It's the way to build generational wealth. I'm going to be a Vanderbilt, the Rothschilds, the Carnegies.
Just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
The whole challenge is building a business, if it's brick and mortar, if it's online, building a business that serves clients' needs that also can continue to scale up in some way. It's like, I had a home before I got divorced here outside of Austin in Round Rock, and we bought the home for a certain amount, and in 8 years, the value tripled. And when I got divorced and gave my wife a percentage, that was brutal. We did that, and I went, wait a second, what? I'm like, what do you mean it tripled? Because I looked at it, and I went, okay, if you had bought 10 more homes, you'd be a millionaire right now.
Yeah.
Because then you saw like what Austin real estate did. Because I didn't know. I was like, we're paying this much in rent. It was like $100 more a month to buy at that point. And I was just like, whatever. Here, I make enough money. Let's do this. Like let's see what this home ownership thing is about. I don't like the maintenance, but otherwise it was like it worked out fiscally. But when you looked at it from that perspective of $1 million. Like it was just so above and beyond anything that I'd ever seen before because I didn't labor for that additional money. Yeah. I just played into the market basically.
Yeah.
And then you start to look at things differently.
So you're building a legacy. You're building your future. You're building for generations to come. It's working smarter, not harder. And that's what you're also trying to teach. You could work smarter and not hurt yourselves and be, a long-lasting massage therapist. What you're building, Robert, is not going to end with you when you're done because what you're building is a legacy. You're going to reap the benefits of it because all your hard work that you've sowed into it right now, you're teaching everybody what Robert Gardner does. When you get to that age where it's like, well, age tells us, hey, 80 years old, I can't be doing this stuff or whatever it may be, you're going to be able to sit back and see your fruit blossom, because Robert Gardner's information is out there. Everybody's carrying it. Everybody's using it now. And you're going to reap the benefits of that instead of having to, work until you're 89 years old. That's the kind of seeds we need to plant for ourselves. Because if we don't, What are we going to do when we injure our arms or we can't work or we're burnt out? And we put so much focus in just massaging that we didn't plant any seeds around to build a legacy. When we're done, we could sit back and say, hey, these plants are growing and now I could actually sit back and just enjoy what I've built and still be in the industry. You're still there managing, helping out, teaching, educating the rest of the generations. But
Yeah.
now you're not literally having to,
I've had conversations with Kristen because she works with me so closely,
yeah,
and this is just a small thing, but because I don't use a table, we use mats, but we don't have mats with our logo on it, and we use bolsters and props and blankets, but I don't have any with my logo on it yet.
mm-hmm.
And then the students will come in, and it's always young women. They're 115 pounds, dripping wet, and then they're wearing yoga pants. And they start working on my vinyl mats, and they start sliding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do you guys keep sliding? And they're like, oh, it's because of the yoga pants. And I go, cool. Who told you to wear yoga pants? And they're like, well, I don't like those Thai fisherman pants you wear. And I'm like, why? And a student was like, well, Robert, it makes me look like a frumpy lesbian. I'm like, are you telling me that I look like a frumpy lesbian? And they're like, no, but we care about fashion and you don't. And it's like, correct, because I buy Thai fisherman pants because they're cotton, there's warm in winter, cool in summer. They're wearing yoga pants, and I'm like, Kristen, here's the $1 million idea. We build Next Level Pain Relief where it's so big, where they make a pair of yoga pants with a heart on the keister. And it says Next Level Pain Relief, and it's got grips so that when you're on the mat, you don't slide. I was like, 1 million students would buy those. We'd be worth millions of dollars if Lululemon partnered with us for merch, is what it amounts to. Yeah. And the whole deal is that merch business is closer to like brick and mortar.
Yeah.
People want, and Jimmy Buffett just passed away. Do you like Jimmy Buffett, by the way?
Yeah, I heard that sad news.
Yeah, and I got to see him on this last tour. He was one of the musicians that I was like, man, I spent a lot of money post-COVID on concerts and shows and comedy and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, who do you want to see? Because they're not going to be here forever. And Jimmy Buffett was one of those where I was like, no, you need to. Jimmy Buffett was playing in town. I went and saw Jimmy Buffett. It was awesome. And I didn't know that Jimmy Buffett was sick. Nobody did. It was like very shocking to people. Just it seemed sudden. And then because I knew that Jimmy Buffett was successful, I did not know the degree of his success with Margaritaville and the restaurants. Mm-hmm. He's a billionaire. He was a billionaire who played a 6-string guitar, talking about hanging out on the beach and drinking margaritas.
Yeah.
He created a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
And I go, Kristen, what's the lifestyle brand of Next Level Pain Relief? And she's like, what? And I'm like, what kind of clothes do they wear? What kind of cars do they drive? What kind of t-shirts do they buy? What kind of mats, bolsters, props? What kind of stuff do they purchase? And she's like, what? I'm like, what kind of music do they listen to? Yeah. Because I'm trying slowly to create a lifestyle brand. And here's what happened. The table-based tribe is going, no, that's not how we do things. And I'm like, in video, I have to craft, this is the lifestyle. And it's Kristen sitting in a hammock. Yeah. Palm trees swaying in the breeze. Hi, I'm Kristen Lumsden. Yeah. I'm a Next Level Pain Relief specialist. But this is what I do in my free time. I'm like, that's the ad. And she's like, what? And I'm like, lifestyle. Because people look at me and they're like, you don't dress professionally. And I'm like, I don't do what you do. Sorry. Yeah. Like, I'm not wearing khakis to do mat work. It would be better to have like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gi on to do what I do. And that's where there's confusion. Like, you're not part of our tribe. And I'm like, Kristen, brand. Brand. What's the lifestyle? Exactly. Brand. I had a student, a colleague of mine. He's like, man, are you going to teach him about, like, basically, are you going to teach him about fiduciary responsibility? He didn't say that, but it was on terms. Are you going to teach him about the lifestyle? And I'm like, Tim, I built this business by eating kippered snacks and I have a Honda Accord with 300,000 miles on it. They don't want my lifestyle. Here's how you can sacrifice and struggle for your dream. It's like, no.
No,
They
no.
want to go on vacation. They want it to be easy. They want to make more money per hour. It's like, what does that ad look like that sells them the lifestyle they want? That sells them the accoutrements of that lifestyle? It's like, I think Frank Zappa made this quote that said something like, you can't be a nation unless you have like a beer and a flag. You had to have your own beer and your own flag. That made you a legitimate country, something like that.
Right.
And that's the thing, the physical accoutrements, the therapists are still thinking in tribal terms of like, where's the brick and mortar? If this was a real idea, are you ready? I go, Robert would take advantage of massage therapists and glean 60% from them?
Mm-mm.
And they're like, no. And I'm like, I allow you to keep 100%. I'm showing you the techniques. I'm showing you how to use it.
Yeah.
But here's what happens. In a group dynamic, I have to create and craft enough of these students doing it successfully that all of the rest of the massage industry says, now it's safe. Now it's okay. These are the cool guys. Muscles cause movement. But I got fired